Okay, hi everybody, this is Mae-Ryn. I'm going to be basically giving my critique of How to Train a Dragon, The Hidden World, or How to Train a Dragon Part 3. I saw the movie a couple days ago, and this is non-spoilery because honestly, it's How to Train a Dragon. I would never want to spoil it for you. But what I will say is it's a trilogy, and it's a perfectly, competent trilogy. Hopefully you've seen the first two films. You don't have to see the first two films to enjoy this third installment, but I think you probably should. So let's kind of get into it. You have Hiccup, who is your main character, and I believe also that How to Train a Dragon is probably gonna toss Alita, Battle Angel, out of the first place. Of course, I think it was really easy for it to be there. So let's see. So yeah, How to Train a Dragon. I could tell the length. It looks like it's 144 minutes, but I also could have watched more, if that says anything. But yeah, so it's following the same group of characters that we've been following since the beginning, with Hiccup, played by Jay Baruchel. Baruchel? I don't know if I'm butchering that or not. I've always loved this guy's voice. Never loved his name. And Astrid, played by America Ferrera, and Grimmel, and then you have character Gerard Butler. I'm not sure if he was in previous installments. You have Greg Ferguson, you have Jonah Hill, also voicing a character here, Kristen Wiig. The dragons and the Vikings are all coexisting, and living life and enjoying everything and doing very well. And everything is working out perfectly for them. So, of course not perfectly, because there would be no movie if it were all working out perfectly. So you know that there's always going to be drama. Everybody's not going to all want everything to be peaches and cream. And you have Toothless and Hiccup obviously leading the way again. Toothless is just adorable. Anybody that's ever watched these movies, if you could probably have a Toothless, you would. I'm sure there was a lot of dogs and cats and everything that was probably been named Toothless behind this lead character since the original installment. When did the first film? First one came out in 2010. The second film came out in 2014, and this one coming out in 2019. So that's a good length of time for these characters, and a really good story arc. I mean, actually, it's a long time. 8 or 9 years for a trilogy. But I think it was very well done. So I'll get into it. The film looks great, sounds great. The villain, I think could have been fleshed out a little bit more. I think that's where I get I could feel the length of the movie. Like, once you get past an hour and a half, especially in an animated film, I can usually feel it, and I could feel it. But I think if we had have given it a few more minutes, taken it potentially to that 2-hour mark, they would have been able to flesh out the villain and his motivation and everything a little bit more. Very stereotypical animated villain to me. But I think it was really, really well done. The theater I was in was sold out except for the first row, which is why I really think that this film is going to do pretty well. I'm going to keep an eye on it over the next few days. But I think that what I will say, overall, it's worth checking out. It's definitely worth seeing. If you have kids that like like I said, I don't know what age group this it's kind of going for. There were a lot of adults in my screening. There was a few children, but not as many as I expected. And I went to it was an early show, but it's I really do think it's gonna have to be kids that are more over 9, maybe, because I think if you're too young, you're not going to really engage with it very well and maybe get a little bored. But I think it's probably, I don't know about 9, maybe 7 or 8 and up could probably watch this film. And definitely, you know, people who were 7 or 8, you know, 10 years ago and are now watching it as adults or soon to be adults to watch the final installment. I think that's pretty cool. But what I will say, I need to come up with a rating system. I haven't figured that out yet. You know, I don't know if I want to do a 1 through 10. I don't know if I want to do a 1 through 5, or if I want to do a star rating, if I want to do a thumbs up rating. I'm not sure. I've watched a lot of people. You have the schmoes that give their thing. You have, you know, you have the awesome taculars and you have the thumbs ups and the whatever it is that T Magnus does. I'm not sure, but I haven't figured it out yet. So I'm going to try to work on that over the next few weeks to come up with a rating system that I really want to use for seeing films, because I'm the type of person who's gonna see a lot of films, you know, not as many as I probably want to see in the theater, even if I know it's not a movie that I would traditionally think is going to do well. I like movies. I like the experience. I like seeing it on a bigger screen. What I'm thinking is I'm gonna be using the next few weeks to kind of come up with a rating system for whether you should rush out and see it, or whether you should slow down and see it, whether you should Netflix it, or I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. But I think for right now, I'm just gonna say this one's good. It's definitely worth seeing. I wanted to go back and talk a little bit more about the relationship between Toothless and the Light Fury, which you've seen in the preview, so that's not a spoiler. It's adorable. It's very, very carefully and well done throughout the film, that you get very vested, very invested in the relationship that they have, that they're developing. It's funny, all the little relationships and things between the characters and their dragons, and the other dragons, and it's a cute film. I want to say that I may like part 2 a little bit more than this one, but I'd have to go back and really really watch the first and second one again, and maybe I'll try to do that soon. But I think I might like part 2 better. But for a trilogy and a final installment or a final film in a trilogy, it was spot on. Very well done. Worth taking the family to, and definitely worth it, especially if you've seen the first 2 films. It is a trilogy. It is a well done trilogy. We're not getting enough of that. We've gotten a few of that. You know, with the Planets of the Apes, I think was a very well done trilogy of recent years. And it was something else that I can't think of that was a really good trilogy that was of recent. But this is a complete story. And I don't think they're going to touch it again. I really don't. I hope they don't. My friend was like, oh my gosh, that was so good. You think they're going to make another one? And I was like, no. You know, now I'm not going to say that they won't make something else that's in that universe or kind of in that world, but they won't make another with this group of people or with these characters. They finished their story and it was done very well, and I hope that they just let it rest, because I think it was done exactly the way that it needs to be done. So I think it's worth seeing. It looks like right now it's running at a 7.9 on IMDb. Let's see what's happening on Rotten Tomatoes. It looks like it's running at a 91% right now, Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's going to do pretty well over the next few weeks. What is it? This is February. I don't know when Easter is. Let me see when Easter is, because I think that that's gonna gauge also how well this film does. You know, if spring break. No, it's not till April 21st. Because I was gonna say if spring break or some sort of school break was coming up in there, this would have been the perfect film to take younger kids to. I think it's gonna happen, and it's gonna probably have some. It's probably gonna have some legs because it just opened on the 21st. It's probably gonna have some legs because it's gonna be weekend trips for kids and things like that. So I'm gonna keep an eye on how well it's doing over the next few weeks and see how long it actually stays at the major theaters. But overall, I say see it. I think it's worth seeing. If you're not somebody that goes to the theaters, definitely check it out. You know, when it comes out on digital or Blu-ray or whatever it is that you use, whatever service you use to watch your films, because How to Train a Dragon: The Hidden World was definitely worth seeing. So that's my overall review of it, and that's what I'm thinking.